Hello, YouTube. Welcome. I've touched my head again. Welcome to another issue of the Ghostlight Social. So, as always, I'm joined by Mr. Lee Toombs. Let's bring him in.
How are we doing, Mike?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm good.
Is that it?
Yeah, I'm all right. No. I'm all right. Yeah. Right. Do you want to introduce?
Yes. So we're very, very lucky to have with us writer, playwright Chris O'Connor and actor Paul William Fox. Hello, gentlemen.
How are you doing, mate?
Oh, very good. Thank you. Very good.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming on, and thank you for obviously being part of that discussion last week where we decided that it wasn't the right time, and we ummed and ahed whether tonight was, but we think it is, and we think it's the right thing to do. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming along.
No, mate, it's an absolute it's a pleasure, and it was good to have that chat last week, and I agree with what you guys said at the start. The only thing I think I'd like to add is just to remind people that when things are trending, it's very easy to follow them, but issues don't go away when they stop trending. People who know me know how much time and sort of effort and research I put into trying to do the right thing, and I'm just conscious that I think there was a really good article on performative allyship, I think it was called, and I think there's a danger sometimes that issues don't go away when they're not when the social media spotlight isn't on them. So it's always good to remember that. But I think we did the right thing last week, and appreciate being on this week as well.
Trend today of block Katie Hopkins, something I did a long time ago.
Is she still a thing? I
don't think she is.
She tries to be, but there was a mass block of her today. So I've said for ages, is just turn it into an echo chamber for these fuckers and just block them. Just absolutely let them talk to themselves. And that seems to have kind of been the trend today. So I was quite happy to see that.
It is a difficult one, though, because I made a really conscious decision quite a while ago, because it does become an echo chamber. And the problem is that you can constantly have conversations with people who just think like you. Because, there is that thing of going, oh, well, you've just said something I don't like, so I'm going to unfollow you, I'm going to block you. And then you end up saying things and it just being repeated back to you by like-minded people. Now, that's not how debate happens. However, you have to draw a line somewhere.
I put a post up just while all the Black Lives Matter movement was going on at its infancy, and I kind of felt a need, whereas I'd not put anything on. I'd not really. I'll sort of peruse social media and will retweet things, and I'd not done anything for a while, and I kind of thought I need to contribute something. And again, just being a middle-aged white bloke, you're kind of worried that people will go, yeah, not really bothered about your fucking opinion, mate. But I kind of thought, well, I want to put something just so people know that I support this movement. And I put something like, I think it was, I hope there's none of my friends or anyone on social media going to be retweeting that all lives matter bullshit. Because whereas, do you know what? Like you say, you can live in an echo chamber and go, damn right, yeah, we're all right, we're all brilliant, us. And it is important to enter into debate with opposing opinions. But I don't have the time or the oxygen or the energy to enter into a debate with someone from the standpoint of all lives matter, because you're not stupid, you know what I mean? You know what you're doing. Of course, all lives matter, you know what I mean? But right now, at this moment in time, it's a watershed moment. We really need to get behind, this movement and run with it.
Foxy, did you see Ben Tago's post yesterday?
I haven't, but I spoke to him today.
Yeah, mate, it's brilliant. It's a really, really good kind of nuanced post, and I think he was reacting to seeing some of that All Lives Matter stuff on his wall, and he's actually said he's left Facebook because of it. But yeah, Ben's a great bloke, great writer as well, who dealt with race really well, I thought, in When We Were Brothers with Freedom Studios.
Well, while we're sort of on that subject, Chris, your latest piece, am I right in saying that's about Windrush?
No, I did a piece with the Leeds Playhouse and BBC Radio Leeds called Exodus, which was around a competition called Airplays, which was set up to commemorate Windrush. But my piece was inspired by the theme of migration, and I basically inverted the migrant crisis that was going on in the Middle East in putting us in their shoes, as it were, like setting a crisis that happens in the UK and Europe and everyone has to flee. It was a nuclear event. Because I think sometimes you see headlines and people just forget the human story behind some of them. And people just think, oh, there's too many people coming in. And you just think, if you could empathize with a family or think about what they're actually going through, then you'd have a completely different opinion.
I'm really reluctant to heap any sort of praise on Chris at all at any time. But it was I was sat next to him, actually. It was fucking brilliant. And at one point, it was one of them things where it chokes me a little bit, and I kind of thought, don't you dare fucking get emotional sat next to him, because I'll never hear the end of it. But it was a particularly really well done piece.
Mate, I actually won't forget, right? Claire, my girlfriend, was in a play in Germany at the time, so she couldn't come to press night. So, basically I asked everyone and everyone said no. And eventually I got down Foxy in the phone book. Everyone was busy, but yeah, Foxy came along. And as we came in, I think we'd had a few beers before. And as we came in, someone recognised Foxy off the telly. And he just wouldn't let me live it down. He was like, he just kept on talking to them over me.
No,
and I can't believe that, being recognised.
What it was, Lee, we went down our row and there was a couple of people who sort of like stood up and gestured in our general direction. And Chris, being one of the writers of the evening's performance, thought it was for him. So he went.
This is not true, by the way.
He went forward to sort of speak to them, and they kind of just looked straight past him. She actually went, "Not you." I seen you in something, so we had a nice conversation. I apologise for that woman's behaviour, but she's obviously got good taste. So
never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
What have you got for our isolation playlist?
But I'm not going to pretend it was easy. You get the conflicting thing of you don't want to pick something that makes you look shit.
Oh, hang on. We had Tom Larkin on. I don't know if you know Tom.
Yeah.
You know Tom. Tom came on and he picked. What did he pick?
Pina Colada.
Pina Colada.
The Pina Colada song. It's a good song.
Yeah.
It's a low bar, mate. No, I'm joking. It's a good song. It's a good start. Yeah. I'll go first. I went with Johnny Flynn, the Detectorists theme. And that's because Claire, my girlfriend, recommended the Detectorists in lockdown. So I watched that in lockdown. And I just fell in love with it. I thought it was a brilliant show.
Yeah.
And when me and Foxy wrote Connected, that theme was kind of like the brief I kind of gave her when we were coming up with the theme tune. There's no poignant lyrics which refer to lockdown or anything, so it wasn't that clever, but it's probably the honest answer.
It doesn't need. I'd rather have an honest answer than a clever answer. Yeah. Good.
When I did eventually get round to watching, I mean, Mackenzie Crook's amazing, and Toby Jones is like.
Phenomenal.
Toby Jones is probably like. He's up there with one of our fucking greatest actors, last 20 years easily.
Mate, how would you elevator pitch that show? Do you know what I mean? When they say, you've got to catch him with a log. What would you say? Two blokes who detect for metal? And chat about I don't know. It's weird.
Then we'll have that one. Yeah, okay. Come on then, Foxy, okay. What have you got?
So I had a look through your playlist and I kind of thought it's all going to be things referencing lockdown and being isolated and everything. And some were and some weren't. And I kind of thought, what can I have there? And then I thought I might just go with a bang or something that I really like. So I was going to go with a really obscure track called Stand on the Word by the Joburg Singers, which is everyone should check out. But I'm not going to go with that. I thought I'm going to go with Isolation by Joy Division for obvious reasons. I can't believe no one's not picked it.
How have you come up with that one, Foxy? I don't get the
link.
Yeah.
Me and you can have a chat afterwards, Chris, and I can just run.
That's clever, mate. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm staying with you then, Paul. What's the most coronavirus thing you've done?
Well, do you know what? It's kind of stumped me a little bit, this, because I was going to go with I actually murdered someone on my property for trying to steal some garden furniture, and I was going to go with that.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I've got to be really honest and say it's probably either buying a couple of extra bags of flour, because my missus loves to bake and everything, and it was literally that and toilet roll, but I would say flour was probably the most difficult thing to get hold of. I would say it was buying a couple of extra bags of flour when I shouldn't have done. And it was only a couple. It wasn't like I had a trolley full of flour, and it's not a really exciting answer, but I'm being honest.
Big bags or little bags?
No, they were just...
Show us the bags.
I don't know the kind of units. It's like a 500 gram bag or something like that. It was 2 bags of that.
Right. Okay.
So,
but while we're on it, because I'm going to ask you anyway, you mentioned toilet roll.
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest, right? I bought a couple of extra rolls of it. I didn't have a trolley full. You can shake your head, Chris, right?
I'm
just learning so much more about you, mate.
Single rolls. You bought
Just
a couple of
extra rolls because that thing.
What's a couple of what does that mean?
It sounds like from a dealer, like from a dude who's got it in his trench coat. Like, some bug roll.
I would say a family-sized 12-pack keeps us going for a week. There's 4 of us in this house, right?
Mate, that's not an answer. How many extra rolls? You're like a politician. How many extra rolls?
Let me be clear. Let me be
Are you going to let me finish? Right. We were well stocked up. We're probably in about 7 rolls, which would have kept us going for another. I mean, I'm quite regular, me, so I'm kind of like 4 visits a day. So I would say I probably bought an extra pack. Right, on top of that.
That's 4 a day.
4 a day?
It's 4. No, it's not 4 rolls. That's 4 visits to the toilet.
We knew what you meant.
I knew what you meant.
So, yeah.
In the peak, how many did you have?
Oh, at its peak, we probably had 12 rolls at its peak. That's it. I was disgusted with people's behaviour, arguing and fighting in the supermarkets. But that thing, you kind of just finish like judging someone, and you go, actually, just because of them twats, I better just get myself down there and get another couple of rolls and it feeds into itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, can I just ask you, Lee? What about you?
All right, listen. In fact, do you know what? I was at B&Q yesterday.
And you wiped your ass in B&Q?
Oh, shut up. I was at B&Q getting some, actually looking for a chainsaw chain, but that's another matter. And I noticed when I walked in, they had a massive pack of toilet rolls. They were like a big 24 pack of toilet rolls, and it was £9. And I thought, I'll have one of them. That's the most toilet rolls I have ever bought. We have more toilet roll in the house now than we have ever had. We only ever have about 5 rolls in.
Okay. Fine. Fine.
And on that note, remember to subscribe and like and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Chris, most coronavirus thing you've done?
The one thing I think I've done that I'm not sure I've heard other people yet, and I'm not sure if it is actually a thing, but the one thing I've done is I thought I've had it. Like, I've been telling people I think I've had it. Yeah, and then I realised loads of people are saying it to me now as well. Everyone's going, you know what, in January, I think I had it, I felt rough for a day. So, yeah, I've been telling people I've had it, which I think is actually now becoming a new coronavirus thing. And everyone's telling me like as if it's really new knowledge. They're going, you know what? In January, I think I've had it, like as if they've stumbled upon this.
That Friday night we all went out. Saturday, I felt really shit, I'm sure.
But so you're absolutely right. So many people are now going, I definitely had it. I mean,
that's the other one. I've definitely had it, yeah.
Chest infection. Of course you did in January. Everybody had a chest infection in January. Chest infection You remember when I was walking up that hill and I couldn't, I was struggling to breathe. It was like, no, you haven't.
Remember that day I slept in?
Mate, I've got friends who retroactively are now saying, you know what, I lost the smell as well. I lost the sense of smell. That's a symptom. You know what I mean? Like, you never said that at the time. Like, yeah.
What was his answer about did you press him on the toilet rolls, Lee?
I'm just pressing him on it now.
All right, look, the answer is, the initial answer will sound controversial, but I've got to back it up, right? So I think I've got about 54 in the back. No, but let me qualify
54?
No, ridiculous.
It's not as bad as it sounds. So basically, Claire was subscribing to, just before the COVID, was subscribing to a company, I think it's called Who Gives a Crap, and they do ethical toilet roll. It's all recyclable. I think all the proceeds go to charitable causes. So she had a year's supply.
Don't try and wriggle out with it with the ethical argument.
So she subscribed for me to get a year's supply. So I got a year's supply during the lockdown. So
I'm checking it out. What's it called?
Who Gives a Crap? I think it's called.
Where do you keep them in the spare room? I mean, have you got a room dedicated to toilet roll?
Mate, they're lovely. They're colour coded, mate. I'll go grab 2. I'll show you them.
One, like, is it yellow for wee and brown for poo?
Here we are, lads. There's your emergency stash.
Right.
They give you all colour. It's all eco. There's like a little bit of bio on them. Give yourself a pat on the bum. Little message there. 50% of profits are donated to help with toilets around the world.
Individually wrapped.
I know.
So it's eco. It's biodegradable wrapping.
Exactly.
It's all about house, man. It's beautiful.
Unbelievable.
Well, you live and learn. So do you have to, when you subscribe to it, do you have to buy a certain amount, otherwise they can't, sustain it? Or what's the...
I think so, yeah. I think you can buy them like minimum. Actually, I've got no idea, mate. I subscribe to the year.
Chris.
I think I know the answer to this, so I'll stay with you, Chris. What was the last thing that either you said to an audience or to a microphone, or the last thing that you wrote that was said to one?
Well, it'd be the last line on the last episode of Connected then.
Okay.
What was it, Foxy? Can you remember?
I ain't got a clue, mate. I ain't got a clue. I don't know what I had for my breakfast.
It was probably really funny, cutting, and a great end.
Will have been, yeah.
Oh, do you know what it was?
Have you heard of Zoom?
Have you heard of Zoom?
The last part of the episode. Have you ever heard of Zoom?
I'll tell you what, laugh. I thought I'd never start.
Very good. Very good.
The last line I think I wrote,
Yeah. What made you come up with that? I mean, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of Zoom? It's a new video that's going to be really big.
Is it?
I was working. I hadn't had any. I did have a kind of a sort of commission which can't really announce sort of job, but it got cancelled anyway. But now we're still going to work on it and move on with it. So I was working on that for a theatre company as an adaptation of. I don't know what I can say. So I was working on something.
We're talking to Hugh Jackman, aren't we?
Yeah. I can't really say. It's not gonna be made.
Yeah, actually, that's really wanky. It was a version of the Trial by Kafka. Proper Job Theatre in Huddersfield wanted me to work on, and hopefully we're still going to do it.
Foxy, what were you doing before lockdown?
So before lockdown, the last job I had before lockdown, I was working on a brilliant show called The Political History of Crack and Smack, which we kind of finished up in Glasgow. That was the last proper job, but the last actual job was working with the same company, a company called Most Wanted from Manchester, and it was a bit of R&D. We were meant to go up to Theatre Live. We were in Manchester rehearsing, and we were meant to go up to Theatre Live to do this festival. I can't remember the name of it. And we rehearsed in Manchester for the week before lockdown was kind of officially announced, and it was all on. And over the weekend, I sort of developed a little bit of a cold, a little bit of a sniffle. So I got in touch with the writer. I just said, "Hey, look, I've got it. I'm coroned up." But I just said, "Look, I need to tell you, I've got a bit of a sniffle. It's probably nothing." And based on that, we didn't go. But on the Wednesday, which was the night the festival was supposed to start, it got cancelled. And then I think the Thursday was when Bojo announced the proper lockdown and everything. So that was it, mate. That was another lifetime. That was another world. For about 4 weeks, all I did was I power washed everything in the fucking house within an inch of its life. And I went and bought FIFA 20 and we set up a little league with a few mates and just got really addicted to that and nearly got divorced over spending so much time playing FIFA.
Yeah.
I did a few plastering jobs. I did the odd job here and there.
Nice.
And then, Connected. And then me and Chris, because we've both been writing Connected, we started to develop a pilot for a sitcom for a BBC competition / bursary. As
a writer and a playwright, I struggle with theatre online. I struggle with it. With Foxy just saying that, a lot of things online. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, mate, it's a really interesting question. I guess my initial thought is to agree that it doesn't work. Is what I think on it basically. Yeah, and if it does work, it's kind of like you've got to really. You guys know much better than me that the filmic side of it. I don't at all. When I write, I first think of the story, and then the story tends to lend itself to a medium or not. Sometimes I find it. Often, there's some stories which could be done in all mediums, but they will be tailored towards that medium. And live theatre is a specific medium, and it is different to visual seeing stuff on a screen. And look, I've had plays filmed, and even I watch them back. And obviously I'm biased. I enjoy my own work. I still always see faults in it and stuff.
What a wanker.
But yeah, when I see the film version, you're like, oh my God, this looks so bad. If I just showed someone that, it just doesn't look the same at all. That's not to say that the trailers can look really good. You can do a really cool trailer with some Vox Box audience stuff, and you can see little snippets. You can do some cool stuff with that. But yeah, I don't think it works. I know Dermot Daly wrote a really good piece kind of touching on this, and he wrote a kind of manifesto that there's a room for live theatre, but just filming normal theatre isn't it.
Theatres are going to close down, and it's going to be terrible, and there's going to be people that lose their jobs. But theatre will carry on, and theatre will still exist. You know, once a vaccine is found, once we've discovered how to sort of like live in this sort of new world. But like, given the choice between, right, we can't find a vaccine and we can't get people in public places together, so it's either a choice between not doing theatre the old way or doing theatre with like a tenth of the people in the audience, or like a National Theatre Live model where it's filmed. It will still have to exist like that, and it might be a poor version of it, but it will still have to exist. Only time will tell.
Favourite moment?
I really enjoyed Airplays. Press night of Airplays was good, but having Foxy there did mar it a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Parting Glass, I thought was I really enjoyed at Gipton Working Men's Club. We had like 200 people, I think it was there. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And loads.
That was a Red Ladder show, right?
Yeah, with Red Ladder.
With Alice, Elise was in it, wasn't she?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, Tom Swift and Elise. Yeah, and they were brilliant. And it was just really cool because I wrote that to touch on the issues like depression and male suicide, which has been a lot of press about. When I first wrote the original version, Life and Soul, maybe like 5 years ago, it wasn't as big a thing, but now it's become a big thing, which is good. But the Q&A there was brilliant. The amount of people who turned up was brilliant. So it's really hard to pick one. Look, March for Embers I really enjoyed as well, which is a play about radicalisation in the IRA, but set post-Brexit, kind of in the future. A new IRA terror cell opening up. And I remember when that was on in Leeds, Seven Arts, I remember thinking, this is like a full-length play with my name on it. And this is like what I always dreamed of doing. Like, was just was being a writer. And I think sometimes you're always looking at the next thing. And I've got much better actually enjoying the moment when you're in it now. And just thinking, this is good, this is brilliant, like, this is what I always wanted. So
you might have answered this question already. Favourite moment?
You'll know as well as I do, Lee. Like when you're acting and you're doing a job, you have to kind of think, this is a spawn, is this, isn't it? Because I've done loads of jobs. I'm a plasterer in my other life, and I've worked in warehouses, and I've order picked, and I've done loads of shit jobs. So every job, it's a proper. I'm not going to cop out with this. Every job's a great job. It is fantastic, and I've done loads of great jobs and sort of like ticked loads of things off my sort of bucket list of jobs. I did a little part on the A Word, which is a fantastic show on BBC One, which everyone's probably familiar with. And I went to the table read over in Manchester, and before I was on my way there, and Pete Bowker, the writer who I'd worked with, he got in touch and he says, Christopher Eccleston's not going to be able to make it, and he plays one of the main parts. He plays the grand. It's about a lad with autism, and he plays his granddad. And he got in touch with me and he said, he can't make it. He's had a bit of a problem. He can't make it to the table read. Would you mind reading in Christopher Eccleston's part? And I was like, on the train, I went, yeah, of course I will. So literally got to the table read, and we had to. I think we read like the 6 episodes throughout the whole series, and I got to be Christopher Eccleston for about 4 hours.
Did you proper go for it, or did you relax?
I shit myself a little bit, if I'm honest, at first, because I was late as well. Can you believe that? I was late.
I can believe
trains. That. Yeah, you can believe that, Kai. I was late, so I got there like 10 minutes late and walked into a big meeting room at the Holiday, and there was literally like about 40 people around this table. So I went in, and because I was late, they just got straight into it. I think I did all right. They didn't stack him off with me part, but I was happy with it.
Oh, fair
Good
enough.
stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe and look at the other stuff.
Notification bell.
Yeah, do all that.
We've got a podcast as well.
We've sort of touched on this a little bit, but maybe we can expand a little bit further. The industry. What are your hopes and fears about what we're going back into? I
just really hope that going forward, there's going to be more opportunities for me, basically.
Yeah.
I just want to work more on better jobs with more money. Is probably an honest answer, but I mean, look, like, but joking aside, there's a very real possibility that none of us will work for the rest of the year, right? I know filming is going to pick back up again. I know Coronation Street and Emmerdale and EastEnders are down to the last few episodes, and they're really, they're having to change how they're doing things. I know actors are starting to have to do their own makeup and things like that. So what you've got is makeup artists being out of work, for a certain amount of time, so we are able to sort of like adjust. Do you know what? Honestly, I hope that the other side is at least how it was before, that everybody who had a job before has still got a job. Because, the thing is, in this industry, most people are self-employed, and it's tough, do you know what I mean? And sort of without playing the bleeding out liberals, do you know what I mean? We know that there are much more important jobs, vocations out there, doctors, carers. Do you know what? People working in the fucking supermarket, stacking shelves, working on checkouts for minimum wage, putting themselves at risk. All those people, one of the best things to come out of this situation is that no more will be like, oh, what you doing working at fucking McDonald's or Morrison's? That will no longer be a byline for, oh, you've got a shit job. Those people have kept the system going and the fucking cogs turning.
Yeah,
that is for sure. So I actually thought about this question before, and you know what? I want to see more diversity in the industry. I think the old Pals Act, the old boys club, that's always going to exist. The nepotism, that's always going to exist, because that exists in every other industry. Do you know what I mean? The honest and best answer is that everybody continues to work in the industry who worked in it before, because it was hard enough before without sort of putting all these other sort of procedures in place. So that's kind of what I want to happen. I want it to all get back to how it was, and then we can move on and try and improve it from there. There's going to be a lot of talent lost. But on the positive side, anyone in my range, brilliant, because I haven't got the competition, because I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, no, I think kind of similar, basically. Like, I'm lucky enough to I do some like social media website work and marketing help for some theatre companies. So I help out with Freedom Studios. Been doing that for about 5 years. Red Ladder as well. We do some work with Proper Job, and I see firsthand the actual difference they make. I see the emails. I've been at the workshops they do, and Proper Job is still running their lab project, giving people confidence and trying to help them find work. Freedom Studios again starting another crop of free playwriting opportunities today. Like I said, Red Ladder and Gipton opening up conversations about men's mental health, and having people come up to you after the show and say, like, you know what, it's the first time I've talked about something. And I hope we don't lose that stuff, because it'd be a lot of those companies, and I'm giving 3 examples I know firsthand, but there'll be examples all across the country. And a lot of those organisations are, could be the ones who lived hand to mouth a bit on cheap grants for the arts and different project funding. And I hope we don't lose that stuff, because it does actually make a difference. And, I think a lot of companies pay lip service to doing that sort of stuff. Community engagement's a bit of a buzzword. I see the companies who do actually do it, and I hope that they're still there after, basically.
One of the questions I get asked most about like acting and stuff, what people say, oh, what have I seen you in, and what do you like doing best, theatre or TV? And wholeheartedly, it's theatre. Do you know what I mean? Theatre is just unbelievable. You just cannot beat just being in the moment and going and seeing live theatre and performing in live theatre. But the disparity in money, do you know what I mean? You can go and you can earn actually, ridiculous amounts of money doing a couple of days on a bit of TV, and actually just be knocking your pan out, putting 10-hour days in rehearsing, and just not earn enough to pay your mortgage. There's jobs that I've turned down. Oh yeah, I've got them knocking my door down. But the stuff that I've really wanted to do that I've not been able to do because I've got a mortgage to pay and I've got bills to pay, and I just can't afford to do it.
Yeah. Because I wholeheartedly agree that the one thing that I've said this a few times, the one thing that I miss, that honestly I could cry because I miss it so much, is being in a rehearsal room. I so much want to be back in a rehearsal room. It's just class,
isn't it? It's just, it's hard work. It's pure graft, on a 4-week rehearsal period. You spend 2 weeks kind of thinking, I don't know whether this is going to work, but you're having a good laugh and you're playing games and you're finding the story and the characters. And then there's that moment, there's like just this pure alchemy that just happens. And I've done loads of shows where I kind of think, it's not going to happen, this. And then there's just, it just happens, and the story unfolds and the characters unfold. And everything that the director's been saying and the writer, it just happens. And then
that's usually the last night. for last night.
Yeah, honestly,
You suddenly go, oh, that's what it's about.
that's what it's about. You know what I mean? It is. You can't. You know, and that's why it don't kind of work on film. You know, the National Theatre Live thing is a great thing, and it's an alternative at this moment in time. But you know, live theatre, you can't really explain it. You just need to plonk someone down, right, on a really good night and just say, watch that. There's certain films and there's certain things that you can watch and you can actually sort of like be completely moved by it. But, you know, just being there and smelling it and everything, it's not like it really. Do you know, Lee, before we go any further, I kind of touched on this before. It's on a serious note. Chris, could you just stay where you are exactly, because you directly... I've got Michael right above you, and his pop shield is literally right on top of your head. So if you could just sort of like level your head up a bit. Go back to your right. No, keep your head still. Back a little bit to the left. Back to the left. Right, no, go back to the right, a millimetre. There. Move your head up a little bit. That's it. Stay there.
You know what the irony is here, right? I've got a good mic and a pop shield, but Foxy's using it. That's the irony.
Well, did you have to take it? Oh, nice. That's nice.
That's it.
It's better than my haircut now, I'll tell you that.
The thing is, our mate's got another USB mic and a pop shield, and I says to Chris today, and I was working, and I've got kids, and I've got a mortgage. She says, Chris,
my God, this is not how it went.
I says, Chris, I says, do you want to, in my busy day, I said, do you want me to take half an hour out and go pick your microphone up from Stevie's? And he says, yeah, if you could do, please. And then Stevie said, oh, no, we're going for a walk together, actually. I'll take it in. And then
Can I make my case?
Go on. I hadn't finished, but yeah, go on.
All right, go on, I'll let you finish.
No, but I was just going to say I went back to working to sort of pay for my children's education and pay for the mortgage and everything and put food on the table. And
Private
Chris says...
You got your kids in private school?
Yeah, I have in Bramley, yeah. We've got this really nice private school in Bramley.
Right.
And thankfully they're old enough so that I don't have to homeschool them or anything, or because I'm useless. But yeah, Chris gets in touch then and says, oh, actually, Stevie's not meeting me for a walk. Would you mind going to get it? And I'm there plastered in someone's hallway, and I'm like, Chris, what planet you living on, mate? I can't do it. And then he kicked off, and I says, Chris, don't be
Oh my God! All right, look, this is. I'm going to have to try and keep my cool here. This is just such a gross misrepresentation of the truth. So basically,
profile.
I get about 6 calls a day of Foxy, right? And my girlfriend's starting to ask questions. And today I had 3 or 4 missed calls, and then Foxy answers, and he's angry as usual. He's like, you even said today you've done the numbers, and it takes 4 times for you to get through to me.
It takes me 3.7 rings to get through to Chris. He's always doing something. He's never got time.
And he's got my mic. I mean, this is the main injustice.
It's not your mic.
Microphone.
Let's have a look. It's not got your name on it, I don't think.
All right, anyway, that's beside the point. And Stevie texted me this yesterday night, but I got it this morning because my phone was on flight mode overnight. And I read it, and he said, I'll meet tomorrow for a walk. And I read it today thinking it was tomorrow.
What I want to know is, if it takes around about 4 times to get through to him, are you ringing him every time you go for a shit?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's impossible.
I can't even answer a text when I'm indisposed in that manner. It just feels untoward.
No, I mean, sat down, either before or after, not during. Do you know what I mean? That is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But it's my mic, and you should have picked up the other one, mate. You've got a car. So there we go. There's a misunderstanding in there as well. But...
Okay.
Right, okay. Time's cracking on, gentlemen. So, final question. My final question to you is, and we'll start with you, Chris. What's been your vice?
Toilet paper. Recycled toilet paper.
Colour-coded toilet paper.
It's tough, mate. I honestly, I've probably been my least viceful during lockdown, if that makes... So... It is really tough. I don't even want to say, I think the obvious, people are like, I've been drinking lots, but I haven't really. I'll have a few beers on a Zoom, but it's nowhere near like going to the pub. You go to the pub, you can hit 10 pints sometimes. You know what I mean? You can't get that hammered at home.
You can't drink 10 pints. You cannot drink 10 pints.
Foxy, do you want me to bring up my birthday and what state you want? Because I can send
Listen, I'm not saying that I can drink 10 pints, because obviously referring to the to that night, which we won't speak of, but you can't drink 10 pints.
Anyway,
You're 16.
So
I think this is beside the point. I don't really know, mate. I'd probably say I got the odd maybe 2 takeaways a week. Is that
Okay.
nice?
You need to slow down, Chris.
Yeah, you do.
Mate.
So you've not done any baking. You're not sort of.
Is that a vice? Is baking a vice now?
It could be if you didn't do any baking before.
No, mate, I haven't. There's no flour. It's all at fucking Foxy's. Honestly, we couldn't get flour for a while. We thought about it and then just stopped trying. Like, everywhere was out of it. It's probably the most valuable white powder in Leeds at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely is.
For sure.
But if you'd have answered your phone to him one of the times, he might have been able to give you some flour.
Could have sorted you out, mate. I tell you what, Sarah's baking cupboard is full now, mate. Hope you want self-raising, chapati flour, plain flour, double O. We've got the lot, mate. All
Bring
grain.
it round with the mic, mate.
So come on then, Paul. What's your advice been?
Without a doubt, it's FIFA 20, mate. It's took over my life. It's nearly ruined my marriage. That is without a doubt.
All I have, I've got a 14-year-old son, so all I hear about 6 or 7 times a day is, "Oh yeah, oh Ziff," as if he's not scoring that. Oh yeah,
Do you know what, mate? That is it. I saw something on Twitter yesterday, and it was someone retweeting an article about I don't know whether it was in America or in England, and it was a parent who put their 8-year-old child on antidepressants because they couldn't cope with losing on video games. And do you know what? 2 months ago, I'd have been totally on the soapbox going, "This is fucking ridiculous. This is why would you do that?" But now I totally empathise with both the parent and the child, because whereas before lockdown, I would have sort of classed myself as quite an easygoing, calm person. But this lockdown, playing FIFA constantly with my friends, where all we're playing for is bragging rights, it's unleashed the beast, mate. And I swear to God, I don't know what to do with myself. 3 hours a day. If I'm not playing FIFA, I'm looking at YouTube videos about the best formations and shooting tactics and skill moves.
That's what he does. And he's
It's
14.
ridiculous. Yeah, I'm 41, mate. I'm 42 in about 5 weeks' time. No, I'm not. I'm 42 in about 3 weeks' time. And it's got a grip. It's actually eased off a little bit now because I'm slightly better than my mate, so I don't feel the need to spend every waking hour playing it.
Right.
If you knew how much of an issue this was and connected as well, right? I'd be like saying, Foxy, if you looked at the latest draft, and he'd be like, I was playing FIFA last night until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
All the time. And he was, and then he'd start telling me about, so basically my mate's better, so I'm going to go kind of Mourinho style and just be negative and play long. I don't care, Foxy. Like,
That's like talking to my son. Yeah. I don't care. You never guess who I packed. Oh, Dad, you never guess who I packed. No, I don't care either. No, I couldn't care less.
Lee, let me ask you a question. Right?
Go for it.
Apart from me and Chris, who's been your favourite guest so far? And who's been your least favourite guest? Come on. What's going to bring the viewers in?
It's tricky. I think when I look back on it, I think my favourite show was Matt and Anthony Lewis. Just simply because
I saw that.
Fucking typical.
That conversation.
I told you to say that, Chris.
that conversation really flowed. Like, I really enjoyed that one, but I enjoyed that after every single one we go, that was great. I love all of them. But actually, my actual answer is Natasha Harrison and Tom Lorcan, and the reason for that is that was the first show when we'd sort of figured out how this worked. So we'd sort of got into a rhythm, so to speak. Whereas before that, it was just a bit shit.
Can I just say, you're actually really fucking good at this. And if we're looking at positives, taking positives from lockdown, you should get out of the acting game, right? Need more fucking acting roles for me. No, actually, joking aside, have you thought about doing this? Have you done anything like this before?
Mate, it's a really good setup, lads. Like,
really good at it.
Episodes, they're professional, and a lot of people do this stuff and don't do it well as well. I agree with Foxy on that. It's you've got a good little setup.
Oh, much appreciated.
Yeah,
Mike deals with all the technical. So that that's that. I just sit and talk shit.
You kind of like the chat show, online chat show version of Sleaford Mods. Are you aware of Sleaford Mods?
Yeah, no, Sleaford Mods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just looking at Michael's sort of image there with the hat, and he's the tech guy with the beard. And Sleaford Mods have got Andrew, who does all the sound. They've got Jason, who's the charismatic, good-looking front man. You know.
Thank you very much.
If the cat fits.
You know what I mean?
The cat fits.
Every episode has been great. You've both done well. Thanks for starting this for us.
Well, we're certainly going to carry on doing it.
Yeah.
We've still got a few weeks left in us. Anyway, listen, gentlemen, thank you very, very much. Before you go, remind us where we can get connected. I know it's on the Red Ladder website, but
Mentality podcast as well. Mentality, the logo. Yeah, it's on all good podcast apps, iTunes, Podcast Addict. It's on Spotify as well. Red Ladder have an app as well, so yeah, you can stream it through their website or download the podcast on various platforms.
yeah, thanks for coming on. It's been
Thank you,
great.
gents.
No, absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Michael, thanks for having us.
Brilliant. Thank you both.
Gentlemen, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Mate. Take it easy.
Take care.
It's good,
Well
that.
done, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
very
you.
good.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah.
that. Very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're back on. It's Monday, isn't it?
It is Monday.
Yeah. We're back on Wednesday. If I don't kill myself with my new chainsaw cutting the trees down, we'll be back on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm sure we could rustle up a co-host.
Remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And,
check out the podcast on iTunes. We are working on getting it on Spotify. So that's Ghostlight Social. Look for that on all your good thing. And it's basically just the audio edited. So if you've seen this and you want to relive something, but you don't have 2 hours to listen to me, Lee, Matthew and Anthony Lewis talking about football and rugby league, you can go get the abbreviated. Is that in 2 halves though? That one is that a two-parter?
No. It's one. I think it's 45 minutes. That
45 minutes, which from a 2-hour record. Jesus,
it's not bad.
that's some editing. Thanks very much for watching. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thanks very much.
Stay well. Stay safe.
Roll credits.